Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Can you tell us about your son's early life and some of the challenges that he faced?
So there were challenges in terms of he was always very hyperactive, always needed a lot of attention since he was quite young. I'd say the difficulties were I was a single parent since he was 4 years old. There was a period where he was abused physically by his stepdad. It was quite a challenging, difficult time for him. But generally, academically, he was always very bright. And there were times where, there were long periods of good times as well. A lot of happy memories, holidays, family time.
At what point do you remember addiction kind of entering your son's life, and how did that affect you as a mum?
It came to my attention, I would say, when he was about 17 years old. I believe he'd been taking drugs maybe a year prior to when I found out. When I found out, it was soul-destroying, I would say, absolutely heartbreaking. Something that I thought that I, as a mother, would never, ever face or witness. So it was a very dark kind of time.
Can you remember how it affected you at that time when you found out?
Yeah, so mentally, I just deteriorated extremely. As a whole family, we were all really it impacted us a lot, and the focus was just constantly on him. It was, like I said, it was constantly watching him and trying to pull him back from that. And
were there ever any moments that you felt like you might actually lose him?
all the time. So it was when we finally felt okay, we've got through to him, we've got him back, and then he'd relapse, or we'd find out that he's taking drugs again. So there were many times where I felt that I've lost him. It was that constant back and forth with him.
And in those darkest times, what helped you to hold on and keep going through those darkest moments?
I just had a lot of faith in him. I wasn't prepared to lose my son to drugs. So giving up was just never really an option. Although, as the addiction got worse, there were plenty times where I thought, I can't do this anymore. But I refused to lose him to drugs.
Well, how did you seek support? Where did you seek support?
So I had heard of the Spinny Project. So one of my close friends is a social worker, and she'd mentioned it so many times. But I refused to believe that it was at that point that I do need to reach out. But there came a point where the addiction was so bad, and he'd become quite violent, and there were challenges I never thought that I'd ever face in my entire life, what I was witnessing through my son. And I came to the end of my tether, and one day I just picked up the phone and called, and I think that's the time that I said, right, we need to get some kind of support in. And it was life-changing from that second I dialed the number.
From that point on, how would you describe the support that Spinny's given you?
Absolutely amazing, because from the second I called, the kind of empathy I got, the understanding, and then I think it was, if not, I believe it was the same day that an appointment was arranged, and we had a meeting, and there was a lot of brothers. I, at that point, was at the end of my tether, so I was just talking, and kind of just saying this is what I've been going through, and I wasn't judged, not one bit, the understanding, every single brother there, listened to me and, came up with a program, immediately. And I remember calling my eldest daughter down as well, so she could be part of the meeting, and, they accommodated for that. And, we sat down, came up with a plan, and, my son was present. He was willing to engage as well.
From where your son was to where he is now, how would you put that in a sentence?
Alhamdulillah, like, it's been a journey. It's not been easy. My son, we sent him to South Africa as well with the support of the Spinny Project, and he had lots of like different types of therapy out there as well. He's had like Khalil Bai, like, always available as well.
For those out there who may be in similar situations, what would you say to other parents who are struggling right now?
Don't give up. Yeah, don't give up. Don't lose hope. Like, contact the services that are available. You might not see like immediate results. Like, we did have a lot of like relapses back and forth, but the support was phenomenal. Like, I'd contact like Brother Ahmed, for example, like, late at night, a lot of times, and saying this is happening and that's happening. And you know what, there was always support. Doesn't matter what time of day, what time of night, like, the support was there constantly. And as a parent, as a family, you need that sometimes. And not to be ashamed of it, like, this is society and we all go through this, at some point, like, that, and it's unfortunate, but it's real. And not to kind of like hide it away, but to kind of seek the support that is available and, take that on board and never give up. Just don't lose hope.